Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I'm proud to present the final in-depth review of my 1989 Chevrolet S-10 RESTOMOD. I've put the final touches on the build and it is absolutely amazing. First off, thank you guys so much for supporting this series. I've been working on this truck in different capacities for probably the last few years or so. It's undergone a lot of direction changes, but in its final iteration, it is absolutely perfect. I love it. It's just amazing. Of course, throughout this video, I'm going to cover all aspects of the build, from the powertrain swap to the chassis, interior, so on and so forth. As with all of my reviews in general, of course, I'll cover all of the ins and outs and take this thing on a thorough drive. There's a whole lot of stuff to cover, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up and let her run. I originally bought this truck back in May of 2019. It's hard to believe it's been a little over 4 years now. Time really does fly. I found it locally, and at the time I was super into S10s and thought it would be a great addition to the channel. I knew I wanted to do some sort of project with it, but never did I think it would evolve into this frame-off nut and bolt RESTOMOD. I ended up wanting to build this truck in a way that combined the best of the old and the new to create something that was wicked fun and enjoyable to drive on a regular basis. I completely dismantled the truck and rebuilt it from the ground up. Not only that, but I looked at everything more closely during the process to see where I could make the most difference in how the truck performed, from acceleration to handling and of course braking. I also wanted to make sure it didn't punish you in the process. I wanted this truck to be something you could hop in and take on a road trip without a second thought. While I had everything apart, I cleaned up the frame, primed it, and applied a combination of truck bed liner and satin black paint. The chassis has some S10 left in it, but it's been heavily modified and of course lowered. I'll go into all of that more in just a moment. From the outside, aside from a full color change, there's a lot of subtle changes, plus some period correct new old stock aftermarket stuff that I think fit the truck perfectly. Being an 89 model, this truck would have had a 4-piece grille design. The 1-piece grills didn't come out until 91. I swapped core supports with a 93 parts truck I had so I could install the all-chrome grille that was exclusive to 93 models. It's always been my favorite S10 grille. All of the exterior lighting has been converted to LED. While the body was off, I coated the firewall and underside of the cab in second skin Spectrum liquid sound deadener, which also doubles as a heat insulator and rust protector. The factory passenger side mounted fender antenna has been deleted for a cleaner look. Along with replacing all of the body side and bumper moldings, I ditched the original stainless wheel lip moldings in favor of the wider plastic flares that were available on some of these trucks. I think it gives the truck a more aggressive look, especially when lowered. Of course, I restored them too. One of my favorite add-ons is the ARE fiberglass tonneau cover. It matches the body lines seen in the hood, so when you look through the windshield or the rear window, you can see the lines continue across the entire length of the truck. Another favorite of mine is the Lund moon visor. I don't know what it is about the old school cab visors, but I've always thought they looked awesome on these trucks, especially with the amber lights casting a soft glow on the hood at night. Other new old stock add-ons include stainless window rain guards and stainless door edge guards. The cowl hood has a 2-inch rise, which is just enough to give the truck an even more aggressive look, while improving ventilation by allowing excess heat to escape the engine bay. For 1989, the S-10 was available in 3 body styles: regular cab short bed, regular cab long bed, and extended cab short bed. The extended cab short bed had 3 trim levels: Standard, Durango, and Tahoe. This truck is a Tahoe. Standard exterior features included black body side moldings with bright trim, bright wheel opening lip moldings, rally wheels, body color door handle inserts, black applique tailgate trim with bright Chevrolet lettering, and bright Tahoe nameplates on the front fenders. I took the liberty to personalize things to my liking, taking some of my favorite elements from other S-10s, including a stamped Chevrolet lettered tailgate, all chrome door handles, S-10 Blazer side view mirrors, the flared plastic wheel arch moldings, and an original set of fog lamps. I also removed all of the exterior badging, replaced all of the chrome, lights, and installed a new windshield and rear window. This truck was originally finished in apple red, but it was repainted in a factory-style 2-tone theme with some added flair. It's a bright white over metallic gray, overlaid with a custom red pearl within the clear coat to tie in with the red interior. Over the course of time first-gen S-10s were produced, there were several engines available. The most common two were a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder and a 2.8-liter V6. While far less common, in earlier years an Isuzu diesel 4-cylinder was offered. Later years gained the option of a larger 4.3-liter V6. This truck was originally powered by the 4.3-liter. With electronic fuel injection, it offered pretty respectable performance for its day: 160 horsepower and 230 pound-feet of torque. The original engine was pretty tired, it smoked a lot. I bought this truck with the intention of doing a build with it. I just didn't realize how far I'd end up going, but that's how it goes with projects sometimes. Most auto enthusiasts know how easy it is to swap a V8 into these trucks, especially nowadays. It's nothing new, but man is it fun. I originally started building this truck with a Gen 1 355 cubic inch carbureted small block V8. It then underwent several direction changes before the final iteration you see here. It's now powered by a 6-liter LS-based V8, otherwise known as an LQ4. It's a pushrod overhead valve engine with 2 valves per cylinder, an iron block, and aluminum heads. It features an upgraded hydraulic roller camshaft and a plethora of additional performance upgrades. In its base form, this engine is rated to produce 460 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. However, I have not had this truck on a dyno to see what it's actually putting to the ground. I can say that it's significantly more powerful than the cammed 5.3-liter LM7 that this engine replaced. Almost all of the supporting components for this engine was sourced from Holley or one of their affiliates, including the engine and transmission mounts, LS swap oil pan, a high clearance evaporator cover, an aluminum radiator with dual electric fans, a full stainless steel exhaust system, a polished Holley high mount accessory drive, and so much more. Fuel injection comes courtesy of multi-port injection, controlled by a Holley Terminator X Max powertrain control module. The compression ratio is 9.5 to 1. Other supporting bits include a Sniper EFI sheet metal fabricated intake manifold with a 90mm throttle body, Holley angled coil valve covers, MSD Pro Power ignition coils, MSD plug wires, a Flowmaster Delta Force air intake, and an Earls LS 4-corner steam tube setup. There's so much that went into this swap that it would take forever to list everything. I also upgraded the fuel system, including fitting a new 20-gallon fuel tank, a Sniper EFI intake fuel pump, and a C5 Corvette fuel filter and pressure regulator. The electrical system has been thoroughly upgraded to support all of the audio enhancements, including a custom 315 amp alternator from Ohio Generator, dual AGM batteries, and thicker wiring with auxiliary fuses. The air conditioning system is all factory S-10 stuff, right down to the compressor and lines. It's all been replaced, right down to the heater core and blower motor. The engine bay is super tight, but everything fits like a glove. Holley's LS swap system is impressive to say the least. Cosmetically, I blacked everything out except for the accessory drive and other small touches. The inside of the fenders, the inner fender liners, core support, firewall, and the underside of the hood are all black. This truck was originally equipped with a 700R4 4-speed automatic transmission. I ended up replacing it with a B&M Street Strip 4L60E 4-speed automatic. Unlike the 700R4, the 4L60E is electronically controlled and is managed by the Terminator X Max PCM. A lot of parts were modified to assure optimal performance for higher horsepower applications, including replacing the factory friction plates with high-performance friction plates, a recalibrated valve body, beast sunshell, reinforced input drum, all new solenoids, wire harness, and a rebuilt performance pump to assure optimum flow rate even in demanding scenarios. The transmission comes painted black with a chrome fluid pan. That just covers the surface of what makes the transmission awesome. It provides firm, quick shifts. With the engine's upgraded cam, I went with a B&M Whole-Shot 2400 lock-up torque converter, which provides a stall range between 2,200 and 2,600 RPM. The higher stall speed of the converter launches the truck in a higher RPM range where more torque is readily available, resulting in quicker acceleration. Some of the strength and durability features include furnace-brazed impeller fins and turbine, new precision alloy impeller hub, new heavy-duty needle bearings, and precision balancing and pressure testing. Over the course of the swap, the rest of the driveline got upgraded and overhauled as well. Along with having the original two-piece drive shaft shortened and rebuilt, I've replaced the original 7.5-inch open rear differential with a custom GM 8.5-inch rear end that was built by JD Race and Restoration out of Richfield, Ohio. It was modified to two-wheel drive S-10 width and features custom Moser 30-spline axles, 342 gears, a Yukon DuraGrip 30-spline posi unit, and more. I finished it off with a B&M differential cover with load bolts for additional support. All automatic transmission first-gen S10s would have had a column shifter. Due to some clearance issues I was having with the valve covers I used, I replaced the original steering column with one from a manual transmission S10 and installed a low-car floor shifter. It's a beautiful setup. I love the feel of the shift lever and I think it adds a touch of elegance to the interior. I ended up settling on a staggered wheel setup from Rocket Racing wheels, with the rears being wider than the front for better traction. This wheel style is called the Booster. It's a 5-spoke design that's offered in a variety of finishes. This wheel face finish is called Hypershot. The inner barrels are painted black and the outer lips are machined. The wheels are 18 inches in diameter and are 7 inches wide in the front and 9 inches wide in the rear. They're wrapped in Falcon ZX all-season tires, 225/45s in the front and 255/40s in the rear. While they don't offer as much grip as a dedicated summer performance tire, they do offer good, balanced performance and no noticeable road noise. I installed a new full-size spare tire underneath the bed in the factory location. Originally, this truck would have been fitted with disc brakes in the front and drum brakes in the rear. This is one area where I wanted to see significant improvements. I ended up fitting a beefier set of Willwood disc brakes in the front and converted the drums to discs with a kit from Little Shop Manufacturing. The Willwood setup is a 2-piece rotor design with drilled and slotted 12.19-inch rotors and black 6-piston calipers. The rear discs are also drilled and slotted with black single-piston calipers that feature a built-in mechanical parking brake. The parking brake is engaged by a foot-operated lever under the left side of the dash. In the midst of the engine swap, I wasn't able to use the factory brake booster due to some clearance issues that I had, so I installed a universal 8-inch dual diaphragm booster with a C3 Corvette master cylinder and a proportioning valve for 4-wheel disc brakes. I'm thrilled with the performance of the brakes. The truck no longer has its original rear ABS unit, but no matter if in the dry or the wet, it stops quickly and sure-footedly with excellent pedal feel and proportional behavior. The S-10's steering setup consists of a steering gearbox, center link, idler and pitman arms, and of course the inner and outer tie rods. It's the same setup the truck had originally, but I upgraded 2 key components. The steering gearbox is an upgraded unit from Borgeson that offers a quicker 12.7:1 steering ratio for improved response and less turns from lock to lock. I also ditched the factory steering shaft and rag joint for a double U-joint shaft from Hooker Blackheart. It eliminated the sloppy feeling that the steering had when I first got the truck. It's far more direct and transmits additional feedback through the steering wheel. It also allows for better clearance when fitting the headers for the LS swap. Here's a fun fact for you. While the power steering return line is a custom line that I made, the high pressure line is actually from a C5 Corvette. It worked perfect with the steering gearbox and the Holley accessory drive. The steering wheel itself is actually from a GMC Typhoon. It's unique in that the entire thing is wrapped in leather and features curved spokes. It's a great feeling wheel that I had restored to look like new. The Chevrolet horn button was a direct swap, so it appears as if it were factory. The S-10's suspension design consists of double A-arms in the front with coil springs and a solid rear axle with 2-stage semi-elliptic leaf springs. The front control arms and bump stops are the only factory suspension parts left. Of course, everything was rebuilt, just like the steering, with new parts and new hardware. Obviously, the truck is far lower than a factory S-10. I think the final drop ended up being around 3.5 inches in the front and 4.5 inches in the rear, give or take some. Changes up front include drop spindles and Alden American single adjustable coilovers. The coilovers not only allow for fine-tuning of ride height in the front, but they also allow for adjustable levels of rebound damping. The rear suspension features Beltec lowering springs, solid billet aluminum lowering blocks, pinion alignment shims and axle setback plates from JTR Stealth Conversions, and single adjustable Alden American shock absorbers. I also installed beefy Beltec front and rear sway bars. Being that this truck did not have any sway bars originally, it was a much needed upgrade. One of the most surprising things about this truck is not necessarily how well it handles, but how well it rides, especially at highway speeds. You might expect something lowered to this degree to ride on the harsher side, but that's simply not the case with this truck. It's very stable and planted through curves and does a great job at absorbing road imperfections. The ride is forgiving enough to make it comfortable as a daily driver. The interior of the S-10 Tahoe trim featured color-keyed carpeting for the entire floor area and on the cab back panel, as well as color-keyed cowl kick panels, a right-hand sun visor vanity mirror, custom cloth inserts in the door trim panels, carpeted lower door panel inserts with storage pockets, a left-hand door coin holder, a color-keyed headliner, full instrumentation, as well as additional insulation and sound deadening materials. Original color options included blue, carmine, charcoal, and saddle. As part of the build, the interior has been thoroughly restored and customized to create a factory-appearing two-tone color theme of carmine and charcoal, with custom textured metallic charcoal trim. Everything that was subpar with the interior originally was replaced, restored, or spruced up. There's new carpet, a new headliner, new upholstery, visors, weather stripping, door latches, polished stainless threshold plates, and more. Like the exterior, I converted all of the interior lighting to LED. When I gutted everything out, I lined almost 100% of the cab with Second Skin Damplifier Pro, which absorbs noise, insulates against heat, and significantly improves the refinement of the truck. The doors are the most solid-sounding doors I've ever heard on a first-gen S-10. I also upgraded them with EnduraPin tool steel door pins, which are a permanent solution for subpar aftermarket factory-style door pins and should never need to be replaced. The cab also features Second Skin Luxury Liner Pro, Overkill Pro, and melamine foam to create a surprisingly quiet interior and a very solid-feeling interior that's also very well insulated against heat. For instrumentation, I ended up going with a Dakota Digital setup. A bench seat was standard on Tahoe extended cabs. If equipped, the truck would not have been equipped with rear jump seats. For those, you would have had to opt for bucket seats. Both seat options could be had in vinyl or custom cloth. The bucket seats could also be had in leather, but it's far less common. This truck was originally equipped with custom cloth bucket seats and a center console that offered a covered storage compartment and a cup holder. The bench seat was part of the idea that I had with wanting to have a custom sound system built that would tie in naturally with the truck's interior design. I also really like how everything came together with the low-car floor shifter. I pulled the seat from a wrecked S-10 and had it refurbished and reupholstered. It's so comfortable. Unlike the bucket seats, the only adjustment the bench seat has is sliding forward and backward. There's a lever underneath the front edge of the seat. These first-gen S-10s are small trucks, but the extended cab's more open cabin makes it feel not as cramped as a regular cab. I'm 5 foot 10 inches, and I have plenty of head and leg room. This truck also has the driver convenience package, which includes a comfort tilt steering wheel and intermittent windshield wipers. The rear view mirror is manually dimming and incorporates reading lights. Other optional S-10 features not equipped on this truck include power door locks and power door windows, swing-out rear quarter windows, a tinted manually operated sunroof, and more. What I really like about these trucks is how simply put together they are. All of the necessities are within easy reach, too. The lighting controls are on the left-hand instrument bezel, while the AC and heater controls are on the right-hand bezel. The latter has 2 vertical slide levers for temperature adjustment and zone, and a multi-position switch at the top for fan speed. A nice feature common to GM trucks at the time was an adjustable air vent beneath the steering column. When it came to audio equipment, all S-10s came with 4 speakers, 2 in the dash and 2 in the rear. There were several radio options available with different features depending on the trim level. The top-of-the-line one would have had a cassette tape player, graphic equalizer, and clock. My friend Ben Leinbach has a shop in Winston-Salem, North Carolina called Extraordinary Audio. He's done some work for me in the past with a '93 GMC Jimmy I fixed up. We put our heads together for this truck and decided to tackle it with a similar approach, but evolve it to be even cleaner and more streamlined. The result is a 16-speaker audio system with custom lower door pods, a custom radio bezel to accommodate a modern double-din touchscreen, 4 amplifiers, an auxiliary battery, and a custom subwoofer box that fits perfectly between the seat and the back of the cab. The box was wrapped in the same vinyl as the seat and was blended into the factory panels. Ben also built a custom closeout panel that features a Chevrolet logo so you can get a small glimpse of the amplifiers when you flip the seat forward. Most of the audio equipment was provided by Boss Audio Systems. The overall sound quality is clean, crisp, and loud. It's overkill for such a small truck, but it looks killer. The radio even has wireless Apple CarPlay and a built-in microphone for the hands-free phone system, so I didn't have to remotely mount a microphone. There's also a built-in backup camera. The only real downsides with the interior is the lack of cup holders and storage space. The glove box is illuminated, lockable, and pretty roomy. There's also a tray built into the lower portion of the dashboard that spans about 2/3 the width of the truck. As I mentioned earlier, in '89 you had a choice of 3 body and bed configurations. Extended cabs were only offered with a 6-foot bed. Regular cabs were offered with either a 6-foot bed or a 7.5-foot bed. Inside dimensions of this bed include a floor length of 71.25 inches and an overall width of 55 3/8 inches. The height at the base of the bed rails is 14 3/4 inches, while the width between the wheel tubs is 40 inches. At each corner, there's hooks so you can easily tie things down securely if needed. One cool hidden feature that was done to this truck was smoothing the inside of the tailgate. Originally, there were a number of concave portions that spanned the width of the tailgate that not only didn't look good, but it made it very uncomfortable to sit if you ever wanted to. With the whole area smoothed over with a custom piece of sheet metal, it not only looks great, but you can actually sit on it without issue. When the truck was being painted, the entire bed was coated with a spray-on bed liner, including the tailgate. It looks a lot nicer than the old school drop-in plastic liners. The tonneau cover is awesome. It seals out water from the bed, so it's more like a trunk. The gas struts make it easy to open, and it's lockable for added security.
Well everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please don't forget to leave a like down below because it really helps the videos a lot. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing that too, and make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on the upcoming content. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.